Welcome back to Enrichment with Debbie. Take out that fishy, and you know what we sing. Debbie over the mountain, Debbie over the sea. Debbie catch a blackfish, you can't catch me. Your turn. Everyone over the mountain, everyone over the sea. Everyone catch a blackfish, you can't catch me. Shake your hands, give a little clap, fold your hands, put them in your lap, and get ready for a really special story. It's called Sylvester and the Magic Pebble by William Steig. And if you look in the corner, you'll see that this book has that medal. There it is again, that Caldecott Award, which means it's a really special book because only the best of the best books get this medal. So let's get ready to enjoy Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. Sylvester Duncan lived with his mother and father at Acorn Road in Oatsdale. One of his hobbies was collecting pebbles of unusual shape and color. On a rainy Saturday during vacation, he found a quite extraordinary one. It was flaming red, shiny, and perfectly round like a marble. As he was studying this remarkable pebble, he began to shiver, probably from excitement, and the rain felt cold on his back. "I wish it would stop raining," he said. To his great surprise, the rain stopped. It didn't stop gradually, as rains usually do. It ceased. The drops vanished on the way down, the clouds disappeared, everything was dry, and the sun was shining as if it had never existed. In all his young life, Sylvester had never had a wish gratified so quickly. It struck him that magic must be at work. And he guessed that the magic must be in the remarkable-looking red pebble, where indeed it was. To make a test, he put the pebble on the ground and he said, "I wish it would rain again." Nothing happened. But when he said the same thing, this time holding the pebble in his hoof, the sky turned black, there was lightning and a clap of thunder, and the rain came shooting down. He wished the sunshine back in the sky, and he wished a wart on his left hind fetlock would disappear, and it did. And he started home, eager to amaze his father and mother with his magic pebble. He could hardly wait to see their faces. Maybe they wouldn't even believe him at first. "What a lucky day this is," thought Sylvester. "From now on, I can have anything I want. My father and mother can have anything they want. My relatives, my friends, and anybody at all can have everything anybody wants." As he was crossing Strawberry Hill, thinking of some of the many, many things he could wish for, he was startled to see a mean, hungry lion looking right at him from behind some tall grass. He was frightened. If he hadn't been so frightened, he could have made the lion disappear, or he could have wished himself safe at home with his father and mother. He could have wished the lion would turn into a butterfly, or a daisy, or a gnat. He could have wished many things, but he panicked, and he couldn't think carefully. "I wish I were a rock," he said, and he became a rock. The lion came bounding over, sniffed the rock 100 times, walked around and around it, and went away confused, perplexed, puzzled, and bewildered. "I saw that little donkey as clear as day. Maybe I'm going crazy," he muttered. And there was Sylvester, a rock on Strawberry Hill, with the magic pebble lying right beside him on the ground, and he was unable to pick it up. "Oh, how I wish I were myself again," he thought, but nothing happened. He had to be touching the pebble to make the magic work, but there was nothing he can do about it. His thoughts began to race like mad. He was scared and worried. Being helpless, he felt helpless. He imagined all the possibilities, and eventually he realized that his only chance of becoming himself again was for someone to find the red pebble, to wish that the rock next to it would be a donkey. Someone would surely find the red pebble. It was so bright, so shiny. But what on earth would make them wish that a rock were a donkey? The chance was 1 in a billion at best. Sylvester fell asleep. What else could he do? Night came with many stars. Meanwhile, back at home, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan paced the floor frantic with worry. Sylvester had never come home later than dinner time. Where could he be? They stayed up all night wondering what had happened, expecting that Sylvester would surely turn up by morning. But he didn't, of course. Mrs. Duncan cried a lot, and Mr. Duncan did his best to soothe her. Both longed to have their dear son home with them. "I will never scold Sylvester again as long as I live," said Mrs. Duncan, "no matter what he does." At dawn, they went about inquiring with all of their neighbors. They talked to all the children, the puppies, the kittens, the colts, the piglets. No one had seen Sylvester since the day before yesterday. They went to the police. The police could not find their child. All the dogs at Oatsdale went searching for him. They sniffed behind every rock and tree and blade of grass, into every nook and gully of the neighborhood and beyond, but found not a scent of him. They sniffed the rock on Strawberry Hill, but it smelled like a rock. It didn't smell like Sylvester. After a month of searching the same places over and over again and inquiring of the same animals over and over again, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan no longer knew what to do. They concluded that something dreadful must have happened and that they would probably never see their son again, although all that time he was less than a mile away. They tried their best to be happy, to go about their usual ways, but their usual ways included Sylvester, and they always were reminded of him. They were miserable. Life had no meaning for them anymore. Night followed day, and day followed night, over and over again. Sylvester on the hill woke up less and less often, and when he was awake, he was only hopeless and unhappy. He felt he would be a rock forever, and he tried to get used to it. He went into an endless sleep. The days grew colder. Fall came when the leaves were changing color. Then the leaves fell and the grass bent to the ground. Then it was winter. The winds blew this way and that. It snowed. Mostly the animals stayed indoors, living on the food that they had stored up. One day, a wolf sat on the rock that was Sylvester and howled because he was hungry. Then the snows melted, the earth warmed up in the spring, and things budded. Leaves were on the trees again. Flowers showed their young faces. One day in May, Mr. Duncan insisted that his wife go with him on a picnic. "Let's cheer up," he said. "Let's try to live again and be happy, even though Sylvester or Angel is no longer with us." So they went to Strawberry Hill. Mrs. Duncan sat down on the rock. The warmth of his own mother sitting on him woke Sylvester up from his deep winter sleep. How he wanted to shout, "Mother! Father! It's me! Sylvester! I'm right here!" But he couldn't talk. He had no voice. He was stone dumb. Mr. Duncan walked aimlessly about while Mrs. Duncan set out the picnic food on the rock. Alfalfa sandwiches, pickled oats, sassafras salad, Timothy compote. Suddenly, Mr. Duncan saw the red pebble. "Oh, what a fantastic pebble!" he exclaimed. Oh, Sylvester would have loved it for his collection. And he put the pebble on the rock. They sat down to eat. Sylvester was now as wide awake as a donkey that was a rock could possibly be. Mrs. Duncan felt some mysterious excitement. "You know, Father," she said suddenly. I have the strangest feeling that our dear Sylvester is still alive and not far away. I am! I am! Sylvester wanted to shout, but he couldn't. If only he had realized that the pebble resting on his back was the magic pebble. Oh, how I wish he were here with us on this lovely May Day, said Mrs. Duncan. Mr. Duncan looked sadly at the ground. Don't you wish it too, Father? She said. He looked at her as if to say, how can you ask such a question? Mr. and Mrs. Duncan looked at each other with great sorrow. I wish I were myself again. I wish I were my real self again, thought Sylvester. And in less than an instant, he was. You can imagine the scene that followed. The embraces, the kisses, the questions, the answers, the loving looks, the fond exclamations. When they eventually calmed down a bit and had gotten home, Mr. Duncan put the magic pebble in an iron safe. Someday they might want to use it, but really for now, what more could they wish for? They had all they wanted. So how'd you like that story? What was your favorite part? There was so much to like, wasn't there? So I thought today would be really fun to paint our own pebbles. So I have some pebbles to share with you. And maybe you can go out on a beautiful day and collect your own. So I took some from my garden. I have all different sizes to share with you. I have one that's really big. I have one that's medium. And then I have one that's small, just like Sylvester's, a small red rock. So today, let's decorate some rocks. All you need to do this are paints. I also have paint brushes, a cup of water so you can keep your brushes clean and keep your colors clean. And I also have some handy dandy special markers that can draw like paint on rocks. So let's get started and I'll show you some that I made. I started out with this one because I do love. So I just took a rock and I painted it purple. And then I took a Q-tip, I dipped it in paint, and I made little dots all around it, different colors. And then I wrote these letters on it. L-O-V-E, love. But you can paint your rock any way you want. Like maybe you want one that's all red, like Sylvester's. Or maybe you want one that has lots of colors and a design. So let's get started together. So I have my handy dandy paintbrush, and I have a rock here that's kind of bumpy on one side, flat on the other side. I think I'm going to use the bumpy side so I can put the flat side down on the counter. Now, of course, you have to remember you always want to cover your work surface, so I put newspaper down on the counter so I don't get any paint on the counter. And I'm going to start with maybe a little bit of red paint. So I'm going to open it up, take out my brush, and I'm going to make some stripes on this one. A nice red stripe across. And remember, you can do this any way you want because you're the artist. And that's what artists do. They make things any way they want. So I have a nice red stripe. I'm going to wash my brush. Maybe take a little blue. Wash my brush. Get it really clean. I'm going to dab it on my newspaper so that my paints don't get wet. I'm going to take a little blue. And I'll make a nice blue stripe right across. There we go. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush again, put the blue on the side. I'm going to take another color. I have some green. I'll open it up. I'm going to wash my brush again, dab it, get the water off, dab it on the newspaper. I'll take a little green. I'll make another stripe right across. So far I have a red, a blue, and a green. I'm going to wash my brush, put my green on the side, and I'll take one more color. This time I'm going to use purple. And I'm going to wash my brush, Get off that green color because remember, artist rule, keep your colors clean. I'm going to take a little bit of purple and paint the bottom of that rock. So I'm making my own magic rock. Let me show you what I have so far. There we go. I have my stripes. Red, blue, green, purple. When it dries, I can take a Q-tip, that's this tool right here, and I can put in another color, and I can make little dots all the way around. But these are my ideas. I bet you have your own, and you can do this any way you want and make your own pebbles. And if you have a garden, you can put them in your garden. If you have a bookshelf, you can put them on your bookshelf, and you could rest things next to it, and it'll act like a little weight to hold things in place. You can decorate it any way you want. Let's do one more together. I took this rock today and I painted it all white on one side. I thought that way it would look really, really clean. And this time, instead of using a paintbrush, I'm going to use one of my handy dandy markers. And I'm going to write a word that's really important to me on this rock. And this word only has 4 letters, like the word love does. But this word is K-I-N-D. K-I-N-D. Kind. You know what that means, right? Be kind. So let's decorate my kind rock. Make it a little magical. And remember, I told you, we can decorate with the Q-tip. So let's take the Q-tip, and I'm just going to use a little bit of purple, and I'm going to make a dot, and a dot, and a dot. I'll take some more, and another dot, 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 and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. And there's my kind rock. Maybe you don't want to write a word. Maybe you want to make a shape like this. You know what shape that one is. Of course, love. I can go with this one over here. I can kind of put them together. Wouldn't that be nice for Father's Day? To give that to your dads for Father's Day? And if I wanted to, I can even fill it in, make it all red, let it dry a little bit, and I can even paint around the rock and make it even more special and make it magical, just like Sylvester's Pebble. So think about how you could decorate yours. Go out on a beautiful day, look for rocks. There's all kinds out there, and think about a message you'd like to write on it, or think about a pattern you would like to paint on it, or think about a design you would like to paint on it, or think about words that you would like to paint on it. Mine says kind and love, and those are important words to me. So thanks for making some special rocks with me and for making Sylvester's magic pebble. And I'll see you again next week. Goodbye to everyone. Goodbye to everyone. I'll see you all next week. Goodbye to everyone. Goodbye to everyone. I'll see you all next week. Goodbye, children. Lehitraot. I miss you. Mwah. Catch my kiss.